Namaskar, dear devotees and friends. Like every Wednesday evening, we'll be studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Panchama Veda, and we'll continue the discussion on the reincarnation. So, before we start, as usual, let us chant this mantra. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriritam kalmashapaham Sravana Mangalam Srimadatam Bhubi Grinanti E Bhurida Janaha. Now, we were discussing the incarnation. The page 758 of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, we previously read, the Girish Ghosh is asking the question to Trailakya, do you believe in the incarnation of God? So that was the question, incarnation of God. But the reincarnation theory means every soul is taking a birth and taking a life, taking a body and leaving, again dying, again it is coming back. And that goes on. The reincarnation theory is supported by the karma theory. The karma theory means we have done some good or bad work, and obviously the result we have to enjoy, either good or bad, whatever, we have to bear that. And who will? Not the physical body, because physical body has a limitation. It cannot survive maximum 100, 120, that much. And sometimes some people they think that there are some people who can survive for eternity, but anything that is combined is made of something, some other things is a combination. The result of some combination it is going to break. So that is the death. But for the soul, what is about the soul? There is a law for many years. The philosophers and the scientists, they are debating on that, whether there is a soul or not. Still there is a lot of doubt is there. So, whatever it may be, the discussion is going on this question that was asked by the Girish Ghosh, and we will continue that. Now, however, the Hinduism and the Buddhism, they believe in this. And of course, the soul survive. And Lord Buddha is the oft-quoted, that of the words of the Lord Buddha. It says, if you want to know the past, look at your present. And if you want to know your future, look at your present. Because whatever you are working, so that result you will become. At present what we are, that is the result of our past karma. What will be in future, that is the result of our present karma. The present is very important. Lord Buddha used to give the stress on the present, what you are thinking. Some people used to ask what about the God and all that. So he always used to stress on very practical, rather instead of just groping in that the darkness, what is soul and how to achieve this knowledge, don't bother about that. Concentrate on your work, and the work physically, mentally and through words. The three types of works are there: Kayika, Manasika, Vachika. The Kayika physical work, I am not going to harm anyone, all this physically we can control. What about the mind? The Manasika, the mentally, we go on thinking many bad things. So that is also, the effect is also on that. And of course, Vachika, sometimes through words we create the pain in the minds of others. Result is there. So that the Hindus and the Buddhists, they believe in that, particularly Tibetan Buddhism, they believe in that. Joe Fisher, in his book, prefaced by the Dalai Lama, is a very nice book, The Case of Reincarnation, quoted from Alice A. Bailey. reincarnation is implicit in the manifested universe and is a basis and fundamental theme underlying systemic pulsation. And he is from that it is a small book, but many informations are there in this book. Joe Fisher, he is quoting this way: the reincarnation is implicit. He has also quoted the Tao of Physics of Professor Capra. I am just mentioning one line: even as we die, we are capable of activating another body, dead yet very much alive. This is the idea. Nowadays, the physicists, they are also thinking in this way: there must be something, the consciousness. And it is very, very difficult to analyze the consciousness. How you will explain? Because the consciousness is not an object, it is subjective. So obviously, only we can feel, we can realize, but through words it is impossible. So, though present day only Buddhism and Hinduism are mentioning about the reincarnation of God, that is a different thing. But it is, I am discussing about the reincarnation of the jivas, the individual souls. This particular soul is taking birth again and again, taking birth in a body and then dying after finishing the karma, and according to the karma taking another body, another birth in another place. And sometimes I feel that what will happen to those people, suppose they are fighting for a religion called A, that they belong to A and they are fighting for A, then they die. After death, they were fighting with B, and after the death, suppose they born in the group of B. Again they will fight against A. Is it not funny? So this is the way it goes. So when we are thinking that we have to fight, we have to do this, we take it for granted that this is the ultimate, but it is not. Nothing is ultimate. These are all temporary things. The moment we understand this, immediately all these conflicts, it goes away, and that is called knowledge. And that's why the Vedanta, after realizing that all is nothing but the consciousness, they are teaching, which is now popularly known as the Hinduism, and it goes on teaching only unity in diversity. Though there are many different groups are there, they are all moving towards the same goal, but sometimes because of the ego, I have not met God, I have not seen God, I don't practice genuinely anything. And God, though we say God is love, God is compassion, but still we are in the name of the God of love, God of compassion, we go and hurt others. Because it is completely ignorance and egoistic way of working. So what is this discussions? All the spiritual discourses only to enlighten us about the temporariness of this life and permanence of the soul, of the consciousness, of the self. So this is the very interesting question that he has asked. And before we go for incarnation of God, we can think in this way. Now Christianity, they don't believe, only now they don't. But in the ecumenical council that was held in 553 after the death of Jesus, the AD, after the death of Lord Jesus, ecumenical council, they decided, a group of people decided, well, we can't understand this, so forget about it. So we are not going to accept the reincarnation theory in Christianity. But those who decided, they were not realized souls. Only they could not analyze, that is the problem. when it goes in the hand, when the religion goes in the hands of those people who have not realized, those who have not controlled their mind, their senses, sense organs. So obviously they make mistakes. And when the other people following this type of people, they are also in the ditches. That's why in the Upanishad it says, Andhanaiva niyamana jathanda. And a blind person leading another blind person, possibility of falling in the ditch. So this is the problem. But I'll be quoting that Jesus Christ, he affirmed, before Abraham was I am. It is in the John, the book of John, it is there. The Lord Jesus is mentioning, before Abraham was I am. Almost like when we read, those who have read the Bhagavad Gita, they will say, oh, this type of words Bhagavan Krishna also mentioned, isn't it? When he was mentioning that I taught this yoga to that son, and the Arjuna doubted how that is possible, because you are of my age, and the son Vivashwata, he is very, very ancient. How it is possible that you taught him? Then he said, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tabacharjuna. For many, many births we have taken, Arjuna, you and me, both, we have taken birth many a times. But you don't remember those which I can. The same way that Jesus could remember, and that's why he announced, before Abraham was I am. Who is this Jesus then? Is the consciousness. Though we are Hindu, we worship Jesus as the incarnation of God because of these statements. Because the love that we find in the life of Lord Jesus, because of the knowledge that we find in the life of Lord Jesus. So this is the reason. In the Gospel of the Matthew, chapter 11, also we find Lord is identified, John the Baptist, as being Elijah reborn. Elijah reborn. The Lord himself, on the basis of his words, which is now they call Bible, and the whole Christianity is depending on that, but they are not either explaining it properly or accepting it truly. So that is the reason, but without the conception of the rebirth, we cannot explain many things, many questions in this world. So this, it says that Jesus also accepted these, Lord Buddha accepted these, and of course the Hindus, all the great souls, they have accepted these. Why we are discussing? Because we are the product of our own action. The friends, this, the morality and all that we learned and we try to practice, not to help others, but to help myself. The suffering that the people they suffer in their lives because of their past karma, it is true. Though sometimes some people will say, oh, the children, those who are suffering, are they? And it is an emotional question. The children, newly born children, why they should suffer and all this. But if we could see the life of that particular person, we could find something is there. No result happen without any action. There must be a cause before the action, before the result. So that is the truth, the reincarnation. Even I was going through the writer of the near-death experience. So that became the very famous book, Near-Death Experience, by Dr. Raymond Moody. He has also mentioned in another book, Life After Life, that was published in 1975, he has given so many statements of the doctors, because the physicians, they got interested in this to understand what happens after the death. There are so many examples are there. The experiments that has been mentioned. And in the foreword of that book by Evan Alexander, is also an MD, is a doctor, he mentioned, he concluded, the consciousness is eternal. Now, even the medical science also is accepting consciousness is eternal. It's a great statement. And we always say, the Hindus, they always say, all the rishis, all the seers, they always say consciousness is only existing and nothing else. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. What do it? Brahma means consciousness. It's all pervading. And what is this Jagat? Of course, there is a different explanation. So many different views has been expressed on that. But on the consciousness, all these things are reflected. That is the Advaitic Vedanta, they will say, and the Shankaracharya view, they will say, it is a reflection. And some will say, no, it is a permanent. That is a different question. But consciousness is there. This consciousness is called Brahman, called Atman, it's called Self. This is the way, if we understand, then this question that we are now hearing from the mouth of this Girish Chandra Ghosh, who is asking this question, do you believe in the incarnation of God, is very important. Now, the question of incarnation of God. When we were discussing the incarnation of the soul, reincarnation theory, here comes the question of karma, or the action that we have done. But if we accept the incarnation of God, does it apply the same way? Has God done something so that He is taking this birth and working on according to His past karma? No. This is the difference. Incarnation of God and the incarnation of the jivas, or the individual self, individual soul, are completely different. It is like the superintendent of the jail and the convict of the jail. The convict is in the jail because of his bad action, and he or she will be there in that prison till all the judgment is done, proper, etc. But superintendent of that is completely different. Superintendent of the jail, he has accepted that position, and he or she, the superintendent, that he is going to see the discipline and maintaining all that. Any time, sorry. Any time they can go out, but the convicts cannot. The same way here also we find that we are the convicts. We have to complete our term, otherwise we won't be able to go out. The term means all the action that we have done that we have to follow, otherwise it is impossible. Sorry for today's interruption. The term means the action that we have done previously, all the result we have to suffer or to enjoy. So, that is the reason they always say be good to others. The morality is, basis of the morality is this, be good to others. Why? Otherwise you are going to suffer. When you are thinking that you are going to give the punishment to these people, or making all his life the troublesome, and you are very happy, they are our enemies, we are giving them the punishment, maybe. But because of that action, you will be also in difficulty, either in this life or in the next life. Now, we were discussing about the incarnation of the God. How the God comes? Of their own. They don't have any karma. The God is that creator. He has started this, all this law that we can say of the action, karma and its result. This is all God's rules. But He is beyond this. That His will He comes. But why? A tremendous love for the creation. I am talking from the viewpoint of the dualities. The God is separate, it is consciousness, and He is creating this world for His own enjoyment, out of Himself. Now then He is separating us through ego. The Hindus, they say, particularly Vedantin, they say, because of the ego, we are separated from the God. And in the Christianity, they talk about the first, the sin that was committed by the Adam and the Eve. But for us, it is the ego. Because of the ego, immediately we are connected with this body, the name and the form, and we separate ourselves from the Supreme Self. Otherwise, we are self, the same self, but we are separating ourselves. But when we are separating and all these actions are going on, but who is the controller? Who is the creator? Who is the maintainer? The God Himself. The why God is coming down as a human being, taking birth as if taking birth, and then growing up as if growing up. I am using the word as if. Actually, it is really not. In the life of all these great souls, if we check, you will find that something very special. In the life of particularly Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, who was very modern, we can find that though apparently there was a cancer in his body, and in those days people were not aware about that particular the disease, not much of medicines were there, so they were afraid, different type of ideas were there, but in reality it was nothing for him. His body was all right. When the people are coming, they see that he is suffering, but otherwise there are many incidents. Those who have read the biography, they know he was all right. So how it is possible? Because it was not real. It was all apparent. It was thinking. So these incarnations are there. It is true, but it is hard to believe, and that is why when you find of the Hindus, they believe the 10 incarnations, and then many, particularly the human form, the incarnation of God is Sri Ramachandra. And this Sri Ramachandra, he never declared that I am the incarnation. He never tried to show it also. Rather, very humbly he lived like just a human being. You will never find the Sri Ramachandra is asking us to meditate or to go for the taking the name of Lord, nothing like that. Rather, he is always asking us to follow whatever the responsibility that we have taken, we must follow that. Whatever the promises that we have taken, we must keep that. So the human mind was, the society was slowly created. So one should follow these. How should be the behavior of the brothers and the relation between the king and the subject, like this. All this was there. So this is the way it was going on. But the Lord Krishna came in the next, after the Sri Rama, he was very much exposed to this divine things. When he was a small little kid, from there he was showing the varieties of power, supernatural power. But still people were doubtful, is it possible the God can be in the human form? See, it took time, many years, because the God means something which is living in the sky, somewhere, the creating, punishing, and also, and like all this conception was there. The God can be in the human form and then can live with us and can show us the path. And what is that ultimate? It is the joy, the bliss. So that we find in the Lord Krishna. And he had to show a lot of miracles to make people believe that it is possible for the God to take the human form. So this is the incarnation. And again, in a very modern time, only 1836, the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna came, and he grew up just like an ordinary Brahmin family, and he was not showing any miracle, but still people, they understood that he is the incarnation of God, and some accepted him as he is the God himself. Why? Now what is God? Our conception of God means he is giving the punishment or the reward as like a ruler, nothing like that. In the Bhagavad Gita itself, Sri Krishna, he is mentioning as an incarnation of God, he is mentioned, no, I am not giving any punishment or the reward. It is of your karma. So what I am teaching you, so this is good and this is bad. Don't do bad because you will suffer again and again. Try to do the good. So this is the way it goes. When he is asking, do you believe in the incarnation of God? So here it says, the master to Trailakya, we have already read, all troubles come to an end when the ego dies. Look at it. The why we are suffering? Because we are separated from God. How we have been separated from God? Because of our ego. Now what is this ego? No one can explain. But each and every one is having the ego. This is a very peculiar, very unique, that each and every one is having the ego, even the children nowadays. So they are also boasting, I. And what is this I? And the moment we say I, all the fingers goes to this body, but this body was not there, say, before 50 years or whatever the age. Before that, it was not there. The mind also the same age. Then before that, where you were? We don't know. Suppose you die after 10, 20, say 50 years. What will happen to your ego then? What is this ego? Is it constantly increasing or decreasing, or what is happening? But still we are so much associated with this body and mind. Friends, this is called knowledge. This knowledge, if we have, and understanding this, if we now make a nice routine for our life and practice that, that is called tapasya, that is called spiritual austerity, will be completely free from this bondage of birth and death. You know, it is almost that easy. We have to go beyond this. So the Vedanta, they have coined a term called Maya. It is the power of God. It is constantly showing something which is not there or not true as true. So understanding that, if we are aware, oh, it is not, actually it is not like that, then there will be no problem. I went to see that studio in Hollywood. Last time when I visited, they took me to that Hollywood, the studio, and you will wonder, those who have visited, you have that experience, the huge beast is coming to attack your boss, and is holding your boss and then shaking the boss. It's almost true. The people are, the ladies are screaming and the people are shouting, children are crying. It's as if it's true. Truly the boss is that tilting, but it is nothing. So that is the way it goes. That is called Maya. is only light, sound, picture and all those. And we are thinking that it is true. We are thinking it is true. After some time, when they put all the light on, we understood, oh no, it was not true. And everybody was so happy. So this is the way it goes, and they were showing how the movie they take, you feel as if it is really, really true. And same way the Maya also does. And what is this Maya? This ego. When this ego goes away, then immediately we reveal that consciousness. So Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is very specific and to the point. He said, all troubles come to an end when the ego dies. In Bengali he said, Ami mole ghuchibe janjal. Janjal means the problems. All problem will be over when that I goes away. As long as a trace of I consciousness remains, one is conscious of differences. Nobody knows what remains after the I disappears. Nobody can express it in words. That which is remains after the I disappears, one cannot say that a part manifests through this man and the rest through the other. Satchidananda is the ocean. The pot of I is immersed in it. As long as the pot exists, the water seems to be divided into two parts. One part inside the pot, another part outside the pot. But when the pot is broken, there is only one stretch of water. One cannot even say that. Who would say that? Excellent example. Apparently so simple. But see how Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is explaining. So religion is nothing but understanding this. That's why Bhagavan Swami Vivekananda said, religion is realization. The Sri Ramakrishna, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna's disciple Swami Vivekananda is also very simple and very straight. Religion is realization. What is to realize? That when I am talking about I, it is not this body, because body is constantly changing. The little I has become this old I, the grown up I. No. It cannot be. The consciousness is eternal, the same. And similarly, when that is, and giving the example of a small pitcher full of water, and it is inside the water. The inside water, outside water, why? The form of that pitcher. Now, when that pitcher goes away, it breaks away, then what happens? Inside water, outside water and mixed. And who will say, I was the pitcher? I was inside the pitcher? So that is called mukti. That is called liberation. The nirvana, mukti, liberation, all this concept is this only. When that little I concept is gone, then you are the same consciousness, but you cannot express it. How you can express? The Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning this way. After the discussion, Sri Ramakrishna began engaged in pleasant conversation with Trailokya. So he was discussing in another way. Just now, this consciousness, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, whatever he said on the basis of his own realization, and each and every realization is actually, and each and every realization truly is going along with the realizations of the rishis of the old, of the Veda. So that is the reason I mentioned the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is the fifth Veda. It is the Veda means knowledge. So all this is nothing but the knowledge. We will go to another But before that, let us conclude in this way this particular discussion, the reincarnation. The Hindu, they continued because they follow the dictums of the realized souls, the Aptya Vakya. In the Sanskrit they call Aptya. Aptya means realized one. And that those realized one who are also known as the Rishis, Munis, they said that it is nothing but the consciousness. But we have separated maybe as if a small part of consciousness, and we are saying I. And the moment we say I and associate it with the body and the mind, and naturally you and all these things all around us, it becomes a phenomena, it becomes a creation, it becomes the world, everything that is there, and we live into that world. We cannot come out of that. As if in the dream, we are suffering in the dream, but we cannot come out of the dream. Why? Because at that time we are inside the dream. The moment we break the dream, we are completely free. All the suffering, all the enjoyment, all those things all around us that was happening in our dream, it can do no effect when we are awake. Similarly, in the, as we call it, so-called waking stage, that is also similar to the dream stage, according to those who have realized the soul, according to those. Now, when this dream stage will also break, because of the realization, we will say, just as we say after our dream breaks, the same way we will say, oh my God, what was that? These two stages. Now, waking stage, we are thinking, we are conscious, we are awake and everything we are understanding. No. It is also same like the dream stage, we are imagining, but difficult to accept it. Dream stage, as because the time frame is very short, we can accept it. And it is happening in my own life. We can immediately compare waking stage and dream stage. Dream stage, I was dreaming bad dream, I was suffering. Moment I get up from the dream, break the dream, I am free. But our life is a long period. There, either we suffer or enjoy whatever according to our thought and action. But we can go beyond that. Going beyond that is called God realization or the mukti or the ultimate of religion. And as Swami Vivekananda said, realization. Religion is realization. What? To realize that actually I was dreaming in my waking stage. That is not true. What is the truth? Consciousness. Now, the example that the Lord Sri Ramakrishna, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is giving, the pitcher full with water, and also that waterful pitcher is putting inside the water. Someone is keeping that water full of that pitcher and putting inside the water. Then outside water, inside water, but still we are thinking, I am inside water, that is outside water. When the pitcher is broken, then it is mixed. So, this is the whole of the religious theory. I have to go and mix with that. And how we will go, that is called the processes. When we decide, yes, I have understood it. Now, this small little I have to eradicate, but it is not so easy. Just if you are deciding, it is good, but that is the first step to decide I am going to eradicate. And how I will do that? Slowly, 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 and that is called in the Bhagavata. I will be giving a class on that. In the Bhagavata, when the Lord Krishna was asked by his friend and disciple Uddhava, he gave a list of the things that the devotee should do. And when he is doing it, the only thing that person should be concerned that he is doing it or she is doing it for God and nothing else. Just by that. Maybe someday we will discuss that. So here the master is asking Trailokya, you are happy, isn't that so? The Trailokya, but I shall become my old self again as soon as I leave this place. Here I feel very much the awakening of spiritual consciousness. So this is the experience. When you go to a holy person, you feel that your heart is full with joy, happiness. Why? Because all the burden, all the thoughts that was there, preoccupied, it goes away. Goes away means hiding somewhere else. It is not on the level of consciousness, it is just in the subconscious mind. So the sadhu sangha, when we go to a holy place or a holy person, we should feel that happiness. The Trailokya very clearly mentioning, I was happy here as long as I am talking with you, staying over here. But the moment I go away, again that unhappiness comes. Because what is unhappiness? Again those thoughts, the worldly thoughts, all is coming. So why we are happy? Because the thoughts that is creating problem in my mind are absent. And why we are unhappy? Because the happy thought is not coming, rather unhappy, troublesome thoughts are there. It is only the thoughts. From here, we can work in such a way that the thoughts should always be happy, full of happiness. How it is possible? When our mind is free from ego first, and secondly, love for others, and thirdly, unselfish. The more we become unselfish, oh, it's good. That person is so successful, he is doing this, he is doing that. If you can appreciate, then you will feel your mind is completely free from jealousy, and there will be no anger, and you are happy. So it is only the thought. If we can understand this, we will be happy all through our life. The Sri Ramakrishna is asking this question to Trailokya, you are happy, isn't it? And he said, yes, but the moment I leave this place, I feel unhappy. Master, you don't have to be afraid of walking on thorns if you are wearing shoes. You needn't be afraid of the last and gold if you know the God alone is real and all else illusory. Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning two things. One is the last and gold. The gold means the support, and for why? To satisfy our desires. The desires, the extreme desire is the last. So he is mentioning again and again. So if you are not having that idea, that means you are not very strongly rooted in the body, and this body consciousness, if you look around the so-called modern society, what is there? Only body consciousness. If you go to 7-star hotel, 5-star hotel, wherever you go, all very nicely dressed people, and they are only jumping, dancing, drinking, eating. But why? For the joy. But again the next, when they are coming out, they are not happy. For temporarily their excitement, they are thinking that is the joy. It is wrong again. It is a wastage of time in the human life. So we have to understand that. Those who cannot, let them continue. Nabuddhi vedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. In the Bhagavad Gita it mentioned, well, let them continue with that karma. But when after suffering, one day they will say, oh my God, all through my life, almost all the hotels in this city I have already visited, and so many gallons of the wine I have drank, but no, I am not getting the joy. Why? Because you are not really opening the true door of happiness. What is that? Ego. So you have to remove the ego and then flood of happiness will come. So this is the Sri Ramakrishna. So what we should do? Take the name of God always. That's why he said, but you don't have to be afraid of walking on thorns. Why? If you are wearing shoes. What is the wearing of shoes? It is taking the name of God. When we are constantly taking the name of God, even before the sleep, we go and lie down and think of the image of God, whatever the God may be, according to my wish, I think of that image and I am thinking that I am actually lying my head on that lap of that God or Goddess and slowly sleeping, imagining that joy will come. Because there is no selfishness, the joy will come. Because there is no competition, the joy will come. So that is called putting on the shoe. Shoe means protecting the feet, and we can walk and the thorn won't be able to harm our feet. Similarly, you are protecting the mind with the holy name of God, holy thought of God, imagination of God, and whatever is good. So when we are doing that, so Sri Ramakrishna is indicating. The question is, we have to be happy. How we can become happy? The more we can reduce the ego. How we can reduce the ego? The more we will go towards God and slowly develop unselfishness and love for each and every being. And how that is possible? Constantly thinking the God who is full of love and unselfish. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna is telling. And second is the desire. The one desire towards God. And towards God, we have to protect our mind with the holy name of God. That's why they take initiation, the Diksha. Diksha is nothing but the help to cover the mind and take it safe from the suffering. The constantly thinking of God, thinking of the different beautiful stories of God, and that is the way we can keep our mind away from suffering. And then the desire, and that's why he is mentioning, you needn't be afraid of the last and goal if you know that God alone is real and all else illusory. Sometimes some people, when they see the rich people, they think we should be like that. Nothing wrong, it is good. But those who truly like to become happy, don't bother about this worldly wealth. Sufficient if you are having the 2 square meal and then little comfort in your home, that is sufficient. So simple living, high thinking, that was the idea of India at one time. Now when you go for chase for the money and comfort and name, and it is you just go and jump into the place from where it is very difficult to come out. The mire of that, you are stuck to that. There is no end to this. If you look at the rich people, they are so rich, so fabulously rich, they don't know how much wealth they are having. Maybe once in a year, their accountant will come and say, sir, ma'am, you are having this much wealth. They don't know where it is. But just the amount, oh, that is good. So they are happy. Then there are some group companies there, they will be listing the rich, oh, he is the first now. Among the rich people, he is first, he is second, third. Again the jealousy, again the burning. Oh, I am only fifth. I have to go for first. See, there is no end to it. And when you reach to the end, the first, and the next year another person will be coming and knocking on you, and again you are thinking how to get lot of money, and you are going on saving, keeping in the bank, show that it will be, you are the so many crores you have collected. And what the happiness? Rather, as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, the money doesn't belong to you. as because the past karma, the Lord has given you the intellect and the opportunity to collect all this money, but it doesn't belong to you. So, just as a trustee, you are just keeping those wealth. Why don't you share it with the others? And when you go and spend a portion of it for the betterment of the poor and suffering people, they will remember you. They will put your images, your photo in every room. They will say, this is the person who is God in this world, a living God. Why don't you become that? What you are going to do keeping all your wealth inside the bank, and one day suddenly you will die, God forbid, and then the bank people will say, oh, he has not kept any, the right of nothing is there, so we are taking that money. Look at it. So you lose everything. The Bengali, they say that you lose that the bag and also the mango that you collected inside the bag. Amo galo, chalao galo. That is a very village, they say. So we have to understand this, friend. So our goal is to become happy. And happiness is possible by sharing in this way. So the last end goal, if you know that God alone is real. It was about 9 o'clock in the evening. Balaram took Trailokya to another room and gave him refreshments. Sri Ramakrishna began to tell the devotees about Trailokya and the people of his views. The master took Girish, Aim, and the other devotee. Do you know what these people are like? They are like a frog living in the well, who has never seen the outside world. He knows only his well. So he will not believe that there is such a thing as the world. Likewise, people talk so much about the world because they have not known the joy of God. You must be many of you who are aware about that first lecture that Swami Vivekananda delivered, the famous lecture. Almost every Indian, traditionally in the generation after generation, they remember the first lecture of Swami Vivekananda that was delivered over here in Chicago, the Parliament of Religions in 1893. Swami Vivekananda, he mentioned this frog in the well story. What Sri Ramakrishna mentioned is the page 759 of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. He is mentioning what is that? Narrowness. What is this narrowness? Ignorance. Ignorance about the others. And they think they are so proud. No, there cannot be any other God than my God. How do you know? Have you met your God? No. But that fool, he will go on and flexing his muscles and they will say, my God is the only God and your God is the fake God, and either you accept my God or I am going to kill you. Look at it. In the name of the God who is nothing but love and unselfishness, this person, he is going to kill another person. And the result? Suffering. This person who is going to boast and thinking that I am going to kill this man in the name of my God, does he think that God will bless? Never. Rather, because of the bad karma, he will be suffering in his next life. So one should be very careful about this reincarnation, whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, believe it or not, it is the truth. Each and every action has its equal and opposite reaction. And the action that you are doing in your mind, in your thought, in your words, and in your physically, do you think that no result will come? Obviously. So the Hindus, they believe one should be broad-minded and one should be sincerely following his own path and also encouraging others to follow the path of God. It may be different, process may be different, language may be different, it doesn't matter at all. But the result of that is knowledge. Suppose a student is studying somewhere in Japan, somewhere in London, somewhere in India, somewhere in America. A subject may be the mathematics, different teachers, different atmosphere, different language, whatever it may be. But when they are graduating, they are all mathematicians. They are all graduate of the mathematics. So that is the idea. Whatever may be the path that we are following in our different religions, different philosophy, different groups, the goal must be the love and unselfishness. If not, there is a wrong path, wrong system we are following. Thank you, friends. We will stop over here. Any question?
Yes, Maharaj. Casey is asking, at the time of death, does the person have a choice where they will take their next birth, or is it entirely decided by your karma?
Entirely decided by the karma. Okay, see, that's a good question. Entirely decided by the karma. As if there is someone, there are many examples are there. As I was mentioning these two books, they have given, they're actually the doctors, physicians. And in their laboratories and in many other laboratories, they had a lot of these experiments. And that the near death experiences, some people, they were almost like, they have given the stories also. If you read that book, you will find they went after the death, they went somewhere. Again, as if someone asked him to go back. So like that it goes, but according to our karma, we go to different places. Now in this life, suppose we have done something bad, harming someone, sometimes not understanding, sometimes when we are young, we were not aware of all this. And if we go and pray just alone, I made a mistake, I am sorry, and I am not going to repeat it, I am not going to harm anyone, then slowly that action will go away. That follow will be minimized. That result will be minimized. So that is the way it goes. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, you are the maker of your own destiny. The ultimate result is, yes, when we die, whatever the thought will be there on our mind, on the surface of our mind, that is the place we are going to reach. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Sri Krishna mentioned about it.
Subhendu is asking, Sri Krishna declared himself as the Supreme. Even Sri Ramakrishna exposed himself to some close devotees, but why not Sri Rama?
Sri Rama's, it is the God. He took the form Sri Rama, but his purpose was different. The God is coming in different name, different form, in different times. Their purpose, if you see, the dharma sthapana. But according to the situation of the people, of the society, the God is acting. So very much we can understand that after the Satya Yuga, if you are aware of that, the 4 yugas, after the Satya Yuga, where most of the people, they were aware about the nature and the life and the Atman, mostly. And it came the Treta Yuga, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. Treta Yuga immediately after. But ordinary people are now, the maximum number of people are there, so they were little bit confused. Rishis were there, highly exalted spiritual people were there, but ordinary people were there and they were not knowing what to do. So it is the God who came, then he gave a complete conception of the family, husband-wife relation, brother-to-brother relation, and that was the work as Sri Ramachandra God did. So he is Marjada Purushottama. that is the way he established that beautiful society. I will just give you an example. If you have read the portion of the Ramayana, people they know that the great sage, his wife Ahalya, she committed a mistake. Sometimes in some Ramayana they depict in different way, but she made a mistake. She thought the Indra, who came in the form of her husband, she couldn't realize it. Then afterwards, when she realized, she was sorry. But her husband, Gautama Muni, the famous the rishi, he said, well, now that Ramachandra is coming to this area, if the Rama said that you are free from all sin, I will accept you as my wife. Now, they accepted Sri Ramachandra, and Rama said it is not the fault of the lady, it is the fault of the that Indra, so we should not blame the lady. And again the Allah was accepted by the Gautama Muni. We can find out in the societies, in a frame it is coming, and slowly it is developing. The Krishna was different. He wanted to prove that God can take human form. So that is the difference. Thank you.
Devjan is asking, is it possible to be with spiritualism and ambition together after leaving ego?
See that they're completely two different things. Ambition is good, and so long the ambition is there, I like to do this, it must be there. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, Atma Shraddha. I must believe, have the faith in myself. I can do it. It is possible. Achieve that, but don't get entangled to that. Don't think, if I can't achieve that particular position or that condition, I am going to die, I am going to lose everything. No. So that is wrong. Achieving something or reaching out to that position, it is good. I can do it. But at the same time, if you are practicing spirituality, you should know it is all temporary. Before me, there were so many leaders were there. After me, also so many people will be there. So it is only for me I am reaching over there. That's all. If I don't, no problem for me. So that detached way of action is called spiritual, and you will always be happy. Thank you.
Sadhika is saying it is very difficult to love each other and every being, but I am trying to practice.
Oh, good. Congratulations. So that practice is most important when we are trying to love each other, understanding each other. The more we grow, more we understand that these things are really, really difficult, because when I am trying to love, the opposite also should understand, but that is sometimes it is not. So it goes in this way. But from my side, we should always try to understand, love, help others.
Well, Arijit is asking a big question. If you read this, Arijit's question.
Arijit Sakul, Pranam Maharaj, in Gita, Bhagavan says, Kaivallam Manasa Gama Parth, Klaibyam Masma Gama Parth. Klaibyam Masma Gama Parth. And the same God in the end says, Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Ekam, Sharanam Braja. How can that be? So Klaibyam means what? Klaibyam means here, yes, the same God is said. The Klibata means when the Arjuna was thinking that he is correct, that is from his egoistic way, he was thinking and analyzing, and he said that I am not going to follow the practice my own swadharma. So the Lord, to awaken his consciousness, he said, Klaibyam Masma Gamopartha. You are a Kshatriya, you should fight for the just, fight for the good, and you must do that. Why not? Then how you are behaving like a Brahmana? There are different categories are there. So this is a klibata. It is, we are covering up our weakness with some philosophical thing. Oh, I am not fighting because, like this and that. No, that is the klibata. And then ultimately he said that you know that there also he said, whether you do it or not, everything has already been done. Because according to the karma, that will go. So he said to Arjuna, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam bhaja. Dharma means the responsibility. Then you forget all about that and dedicate to me. I will guide you. So here he is asking us, through Arjuna, to stand up and fight and perform our duties, responsibilities. And then ultimately we have to surrender everything to God, because that is the ultimate thing. So thank you for your interest, and let us chant this mantra and we conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidhyam tam Rama Krishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.